My name is Stephen Gugu, and I'm one of the principals at Invhestia Africa, where we support businesses and investors to be able to connect and to get the right deals done. We believe we are the bridge between investors and entrepreneurs, starting all the way from the early stage to the later stage of businesses. So we recently merged Invhestia Africa and Viktoria Ventures. And the rationale behind the merger was really both entities were now 14 years old. And we've been able to create different followers, different partners, a lot of impact on the different sectors. And we realized that we were missing out on the synergy that could be created between the two different businesses. We started getting clients who were asking for more, whether they were Viktoria Ventures clients who were doing programmatic kind of work, and they wanted some deep technical finance kind of knowledge. And we thought they would benefit from the work that's been done on Invhestia. We started getting clients even on the Invhestia side who needed programmatic kind of support, and that kind of support was coming from the Viktoria side. And so we thought the synergy was one of the key reasons why we wanted to do this. But then second, on top of that, we also realized that there was a lot of complementarity that we get from both entities. Being able to merge the early stage and the later stage, and being the bridge in this case, and that has really helped, because we found that some of the investors that we were working with were from our advisory business, Invhestia Africa, and investing in some of the startups we were encountering on the Viktoria Venture side. Some of the innovation that was required was coming from the startups we were working with and going into some of the corporates we were working with. So there's a lot of synergy and complementarity that was coming out of those businesses. So we felt it was the right decision to make after 14 years. What informs our vision and mission is really the impact that we see needed in the ecosystem. African entrepreneurs need access to capital, and a number of them face challenges in terms of being able to access that capital. We also have a lot of capital, part of it coming from the West, part of it coming from the continent, that is looking for these kinds of opportunities, and there's a challenge there. So what we've created is a platform that is able to connect the entrepreneurs and the investors to be able to make the investments. On top of that, we support that platform by providing services, in this case advisory services, that enable those deals to be able to happen. Be it making the right kind of financial decisions in this case, or be it even just the market assessment that's required, the financial modeling that's required. On top of that, our platform is also going to be looking to make investments. So when we find the opportunities we feel that are right, we'll be making investments directly as ourselves, or investing capital on behalf of partners that we're working with. So why the merger was important 14 years later is because we started out with the premise that the two markets, the early stage and the later stage, were different. But over time we realized actually there was a lot of complementarity that would come through merging those two businesses. And so that's one of the key reasons. But the other thing is that from a personal perspective, I've been going through a leadership journey over the last couple of years. And that leadership journey, my coach really challenged me in terms of, are we diluting our brand by being in two different spaces which we are not able to link together? And I feel that journey helped me a lot in terms of just unpacking that question. And we had discussions internally with the other directors in the business, and we found that it was the right opportune time to be able to do this. On top of that, our client base. We found that our clients were asking for more services, and some of those services were actually just across the room in the other brand. And we felt that we would want to be able to put this together so that then they can see us as one entity that's able to provide services from an end-to-end perspective. In terms of the confidence that this would actually work, you're never really sure, right? But you hope and trust that based on the work that's been done behind the scenes, based on the alignment of the teams, based on the opportunities that we're able to see, the synergy we expect to be able to create in the market, that it's going to work. But having said that, the key thing for us is that we have two brands which are fairly strong in the African ecosystem, and they are catering for different client segments. And we felt that there's synergies that could be created between those two different brands. And that's obvious because we had already started seeing some of our clients asking for services across the different brands. And so that's one key thing, that there was actually a need that we could see presenting itself. I think the second thing is just realizing that if you look at the continent, we need to build bigger companies, bigger brands that are able to do, have much bigger impact across the continent. And for you to do that, you cannot be in two boats. You have to be in one boat that's then looking to attack the problem. At the core of Invhestia Africa is really addressing the capital problem. And that's the same thing that Invhestia was doing before, the same thing that Viktoria was doing. It's just that we're approaching it in a different way. And so by combining those two entities together, we feel that we should be able to be successful and provide that success also to our clients by the kind of service offering they're going to be getting from the combined entity. So at the core in the continent, we like saying at Invhestia that we don't have a capital problem, we have a capacity problem. And we have some gaps that need to be addressed to unlock that capacity. The first key gap that needs to be addressed is the quality of decision making. So you find these really good ventures, but at times they're not able to present themselves in a way that investors are able to understand what their pitch is, what they're looking for, and so forth. And that's because maybe they've not carried out a good valuation, they've not maybe presented their documentation really well. On the other side, you have investors that are looking for opportunities, and they are asking themselves what are the right opportunities to make investments into. And so we believe that we're able to address that question, and that's one of the key gaps that we see in the market. So in terms of the gap we see in the market that we're looking to address, I think we see two key gaps. The first one is around the quality of decision making, and that's where our advisory services come from, the financial modeling, the deck preparation, and so forth. And here really what we're looking to address is we find that there's lots of opportunities that are not able to present themselves in the way that investors would be able to understand those investment opportunities. And so by spending a bit of time with the entrepreneurs with the opportunity and teasing out the key information, we're able to improve the quality of decision making for the entrepreneurs to be able to know what's the right valuation for these, how much funding do I need, what returns will I be able to generate from my projects, and so forth, which is what investors essentially are looking for. We're able to prepare better the entrepreneurs for due diligence and so forth. And this works across, whether it's from a programmatic perspective where we're offering access to finance services. It's the same thing, that you have entrepreneurs who are looking to raise funding and they need to present the information in a way that investors are able to understand that information. On the other side, we feel that there's a mismatch in the ecosystem. There's some really good opportunities. There's capital that's looking for opportunities. And when we speak to the capital side says that we're not seeing the opportunities. When we speak to the entrepreneurs, they say we're not getting the capital. And so that mismatch is one that needs to be addressed. And there's many solutions to that, including the first one, which is around decision making. But the second one is just really having a party that's able to create the dots, meet entrepreneurs, find the right opportunities, be able to present those opportunities in the way that investors expect those opportunities to be presented. And on the other side, work with investors to really understand what they're looking for. And in certain instances, even help the investors to maybe create a different lens from which to evaluate some of these opportunities, especially the foreign investors who may not be based here locally, where at times some of the lenses they apply may not be, as relevant, or they may have some challenges when you're trying to evaluate a startup on this side of the world. So just helping to appreciate what is risk that can be managed and what is risk that cannot be managed in this case. One of the key challenges we face in the continent is all about the capacity, right? And here we mean capacity in terms of whether it's entrepreneurs being able to present themselves in a way that investors understand the opportunities better, or investors being able to analyze deals and to make the right kinds of decisions when they see those opportunities. Now, this is something that we do very well at Invhestia. We have different learning platforms that we've created. One of them is the learn.invhestia.com, which is a financial modeling training platform that we've created, which trains you on financial modeling, be it on corporate finance, be it on project finance, and then you're able to build financial models and help the quality of decision making. We also have training programs where we go to universities. This is something that we've launched out of our CSR, where we look to train the next group of financial modelers, you want to call it that. And we'll go with different universities, we'll train them, we'll then look to place them into different opportunities after they go through a competition which we call the IMARI Financial Modeling Competition. And if you're interested to support the next group of financial modelers, in this case using AI, and also financial modeling in Excel, please reach out to us. It's something we really believe in, that we need to take the brightest that Africa can offer and present them to the market in a way that they can be able to support in building the continent through quality decision making. On the other side, looking at the investor side, we have a platform, the Africa Angel Academy, where we train angel investors and indeed any early stage investor to be able to come in and to be able to know how to evaluate deals, how to make deals, how to support early stage entrepreneurs to be able to achieve the impact they want to achieve in this case. Important to note that we do this together with our partner, Viridian Ventures out of South Africa, and David Van Dyke. Our capacity building work does not end at training only. We also support from a coaching perspective and from a technical assistant perspective. We've been involved in several programs, in this case, looking at access to finance, including the research commercialization program, working with the Develop Ventures program in this case. And here then we support founders to be able to present the opportunities better. We do coaching, in-depth coaching. We do technical assistance where we come in and support in specific aspects, be it in financial modeling, be it in data room preparation, pitch deck preparation, and so forth. We also offer the same services on the investor side. For instance, if you're an investor, you're looking to set up a fund, looking to set up an angel network, those are things that we have experience in, and we can support you to be able to walk that journey. We've had two brands for a number of years, Invhestia Africa and Viktoria Ventures. None of them is getting lost. If you go to our website today, you'll see that we have a big house which has different rooms. One of the rooms is called Invhestia Ventures, and that's where the work that you've been doing under Viktoria Ventures is going to go into. We have a room called Invhestia Capital and Invhestia Advisory, and you'll see a lot of the capital related work and the advisory work going into those separate rooms. The good thing about this is that the house is connected, right? And so within that big house with the different rooms, we're able to ensure that our clients can experience the full variety of services which are being offered across the entire spectrum, be it from an advisory perspective, from a program management perspective, fund management, and so forth, and even from a networking perspective, where we find that, as I mentioned earlier, part of the networks that we've generated on the startup side are very useful for the corporate side. Right now, we're talking about elements around AI. Startups are leading in that front. We have lots of connections of startups who are trying to do amazing things, and we can be able to connect them to some of the corporates. Some of the corporates are looking for innovations. We're able to connect them to some of the work that's being done with the early stage companies. And so it's all about ensuring that we are going deeper as Invhestia, but also going across from a breadth perspective to ensure you're getting a wide array of services. So one of the rooms we have under the Invhestia Africa house is Invhestia Capital. Invhestia Capital really is something we've been doing both within Invhestia and Viktoria Ventures. We've been offering fund management services to different clients, and we've also been deploying capital ourselves. So for instance, we've worked with a couple of funds who we've supported with in terms of setting up and even in terms of starting to deploy capital, where then the service we offer there is the deal sourcing, the deal evaluation, going all the way to closing the transaction, and then adding value to the portfolio and eventually looking to exit. So we've offered those services as standalone and at times as combined. On top of that, through our Viktoria Business Angels network, which has a portfolio of 15 companies, we have been deploying capital and managing those startups as we move along. So in fact, it was important to have this house because the next transition to this is for us to raise a fund, which we're looking to raise with our partners, Consonance Investment Partners, which is going to be a Pan-African fund looking to invest in startups across the continent that are looking to solve the critical infrastructure issues that we have. For VBAN, which is the Viktoria Business Angels Network, which is a network of early stage investors who have deployed capital in 15 transactions so far, what we've chosen to do is to take the investments and to manage them all the way till the point where we can be able to exit them, but also leverage the experience there to raise a fund. And that's why I mentioned about the fund we're looking to raise with our partners, Consonance Investment Partners. On top of that, for the angels who've been there, we'll keep showcasing to them different investment opportunities, but within the AAA family. The AAA family has over 800 angel investors trained across the continent who've deployed $12 million. So we want to take the synergies between these. We take our VBAN angels, add them to this bigger family of AAA, and then be able to keep making investments not only in Kenya, but across the continent. When you're working with the new Invhestia, which is really the old Invhestia, I shouldn't say that, but let me take that again. When you're working with the new Invhestia, the kind of confidence I'd like you to feel is, over 16 years, 14 now, 14, sorry. When you're working with Invhestia Africa, What I'd like you to feel is that, a depth of experience, over 15 years experience in the continent, working with different businesses and investors, right from the early stage to the later stage. So a really good understanding of context, what works in the continent, what does not work. I'd like you to feel the deep technical expertise that comes from our different teams, be it investment advisory, be it programmatic. Right? I'd like you to feel that you're in safe hands, working with an institution that understands the continent and understands what works and what doesn't work. Within the next 5 to 10 years, and even longer than that, the kind of institution we are trying to build is a multi-sided institution. On one side, we want the teams that are working within the institution to know that they're solving the most important challenges in the continent. So we're building a team of competent, passionate individuals who are looking to solve the biggest challenges we have in the continent, and one of those is capital. On the other side, we want to build an organization that's going to be able to address the challenge that we face in the financing space, where the right opportunities are not getting access to the right kind of capital, and the capital is not getting access to the right kinds of opportunities. On the flip side, we're looking to build a continent where the right kinds of opportunities get access to capital, and capital is able to trace these right kind of opportunities. And for these, we don't want to work by ourselves. We want to work with development partners, with investors, with entrepreneurs, to take the kind of capabilities we have and to be able to address these big challenges that we face in the continent.